So, Caitlin Clark, it has been revealed that Ice Cube offered her $1.5 million per game. And this is my favorite thing, is that the big three will use...
Look, they're using Caitlin Clark for everything. And for good reason, right? She basically took women's basketball from being an afterthought to prime time. But here's the wild part. She just turned down a massive $15 million contract from Ice Cube's Big 3 league, and yeah, the WNBA definitely breathed a huge sigh of relief. But what's crazy is, you still hear a lot of other players complaining, thinking they deserve the same kind of spotlight, even though this whole story, this entire moment, really wouldn't exist without Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark, did you turn down $15 million? Oh, that's a boss move. Oh, that's a crazy boss move. I understand. You got Nike deals. You got freaking PGA Golf Tour, Live Golf Tour. You got hockey sponsor. I know you got a lot going on, but to turn down 15 M's, unrivaled. If y'all thought a few million and some equity was gonna get her to show.
This isn't just about the cash, though. It's about a 23-year-old superstar who decided loyalty mattered more than luxury, fans over a fortune, and the future of women's basketball over her own personal bank account. I mean, her WNBA teammates? They're topping out at around $249. Meanwhile, Clark literally said no to enough money to buy herself a small island, or at least a seriously nice house with its own basketball court in the backyard. That's just wild to think about.
The $15 million, that's life-changing money for anyone, let alone a rookie athlete. So where did this unbelievable offer come from, and why on earth would Caitlin Clark turn it down? So the offer, as you guys can see on the article on the screen, was from the Big 3, the 3-on-3 basketball league founded by the one and only Ice Cube. And the first offer was already huge, a cool $5 million ball. But in a sign of just how desperate they were to get Clark, they tripled it, blowing it up to a massive 50.
And look, Ice Cube's Big 3 league wasn't messing around with pocket change. They actually started their offer at $5 million, then ended up tripling it to a mind-blowing $15 million. And get this, that was for just 10 weeks of playing. We're talking about $1.5 million per game. Seriously, per game. Most WNBA players would have to play for like 60 years just to make what Clark was offered for a single afternoon on the court.
Caitlin Clark, the Big 3 reportedly offered Caitlin Clark $15 million for 10 games. For 10 games. That is insane. That's wild. And it says she declined. That's a lot of chicken to turn down. I can't lie to you. I can't lie to you. I literally can't. I can't. That is insane. I don't know, bro. 15 million for 10 games. Woo. Woo.
But here's the beautiful part of all this. She just said no. Not like, let me think about it. Or maybe, but a flat out, thanks, but no thanks. And you know why? Because unlike some other players who are throwing subtle shade on social media and complaining about attention they haven't really earned, Caitlin Clark actually gets what this moment means for women's basketball. She truly understands the bigger picture.
Ice Cube, I'm sorry, my precious CC said no. 15 mil to play in your Big 3 league? No, I don't chase the money. Money chase me. You hear me? At the end of the day, she is worth $1 billion. By the time her career ends, I'm telling you, all these other endorsement deals she have, and then make it make sense. Why was she playing a Big 3 against NBA players who are stronger than her, which can injure her? You hear me? She would be the smallest person on the court. That wouldn't even make sense. And then I'm thinking like, y'all probably would try to embarrass her and all of that, bro. Like, it's a lot of undercover hate going on.
The WNBA, though, they were in a full-blown panic. I mean, they went through all the stages of grief in like 72 hours. First, it was total denial. No way their golden goose would actually leave, right? Then came the anger. How dare someone offer their star player actual money when the league barely pays 6 figures? After that, bargaining. Maybe they could find some clever marketing deals or endorsements for her. Then the depression hit when they realized she could make more in 10 weeks than an entire team's salary cap. But then finally came acceptance, and honestly, it was probably the sweetest relief the league has ever felt.
Down. Caitlin Clark, you so much better than me. Because the WNBA would have never, hey listen, I would have never stepped foot on that court. $1.5 million per game. Braun don't even make that. And you turned it down for her contract in the WNBA, she gonna make like $400,000 in 4 years. That's the part that I don't really understand about WNBA players. They make so much bread everywhere else. They be making more bread in college. They make more bread overseas. They can make more in Unrivaled, the Big 3. There's so many options, but they still be playing in the WNBA. I don't get it. Go on strike, bro. If there's money like this available, go get it. Don't be loyal to...
So yeah, Clark said no. She chose them. She picked the everyday grind, sweating it out in an 82-degree gym in Indiana, over all the flash and glamour the Big 3 could offer. Honestly, the WNBA didn't just dodge a bullet, they ducked a financial nuclear bomb. Imagine them trying to explain why their biggest star just bounced for South Beach, or wherever Ice Cube hosts his games. But here's the thing, while Clark was making this incredibly selfless decision, her teammates were probably doing the math, realizing just how unfair their own paychecks felt. The WNBA salary cap is only around $1.5 million per team for an entire roster. Clark's Big 3 offer, that was almost 10 times that amount for just one player for 10 games. The numbers are so wild, it almost breaks your brain.
Example of what it looks like when people are jealous of you, look at Caitlin Clark. She is undeniably a great basketball player. That is just a fact. Now, there have been a lot of great basketball players before her, and there will be after her. But what we do know is that she is getting a ton of recognition, and that breeds jealousy. When you shine bright and you're really great at what you do, people come for you more because you are great. Notice how much friction there is on the court. There is always someone going up against her. There's always people taking personal offense.
But let's just address the giant elephant in the room here, jealousy. Even Dick Vitale, who probably knows more about basketball than most of these players combined, called it out for what it was, pure jealousy. I mean, think about it. Clark was ranked 9th among guards by her fellow WNBA players in All-Star voting. This is a player who led the fan vote and was 3rd in media rankings. The message was loud and clear. Some of these players would rather cut off their own shooting hands than admit Clark has truly elevated their entire sport.
The WNBA's jealousy of Caitlin Clark has never been more obvious as players vote her the 9th best guard. Yes, you read that right, bro. The WNBA just had their All-Star voting return, and the players voted Caitlin Clark as the 9th best guard in the league. Mind you, this is the same Caitlin Clark that came in breaking every record. She putting up numbers that have never been done in WNBA history. She literally has the entire league on her back. Look down here. This is how many votes she got from the fans. Look, she got 1.2 million All-Star votes. Not only is that a WNBA record, but it breaks her own record from last year when she got 700,000 as a rookie. And this, look, for reference, the top 30 vote getters for the 2023 All-Star game got 1.7 million.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's actual WNBA salary, that's just a cosmic joke, seriously. She's making just over $78,000 this season. Think about it, that's less than some folks spend on a luxury car. And this is the woman responsible for a massive 27% of the league's entire economic activity. An economist even figured she generated $36 million in economic impact for Indianapolis alone in her rookie season. I mean, she's bringing in more revenue than some small countries, and the WNBA is basically paying her like she's managing a Dairy Queen. What's crazy is how she's handled all this. It's been masterful. While you see players like A'ja Wilson leaking their own contract details to stay in the spotlight, Clark is over here talking about how she won't pay $10 for airplane Wi-Fi because she's a little cheap. This woman just walked away from $15 million, and she's worried about the cost of internet on a Delta flight. That's not just humble, that's actually transcendent. But here's what makes her decision even more remarkable. She totally could have just said, screw it, to the whole WNBA scene. A lot of people would have, right? The league underpays her by a ridiculous amount, some players resent her success, and the media constantly questions if she even deserves the attention. Any rational person would have taken that money and run. But Clark isn't rational in that traditional way. She's a visionary.
Her endorsement deals must be pretty decent for her to willingly turn that down, because we know her WNBA salary is nothing to brag about. But for her to do that, I guess I look at it like this. If she were to have accepted that before she even stepped foot on a WNBA court, I could only imagine how they would have treated her. I don't even think she would have made it through half the season. She would have had a season-ending injury for sure. With how rough they were treating her as a rookie and fouling her and just being aggressive with her in comparison to other players, I don't think she would have made it through the season as a rookie. So I guess in a sense that may be a blessing in disguise. It's hard to say a blessing in disguise when you lose out on 15 M's, but nobody knows. That may have been a blessing in disguise.
See, she understands her real value isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about those little girls who are now dreaming of hitting logo threes and the moms who are planning family outings around WNBA games. She sees the bigger picture, you know? She's building something truly sustainable for women's basketball in America, not just trying to cash in on a moment. And the reality of what Clark has actually built, it's just not talked about enough, because the numbers are absolutely staggering. Her debut game, it pulled in 2.1 million viewers, which was the largest WNBA audience in over 2 decades. Plus, games featuring Clark have completely shattered attendance records that have been standing since the league even started. The Indiana Fever, for example, only drew about 81,000 fans for their entire 2023 season. They blew past that number in just their first 5 home games with Clark. When that Mystics Fever game moved from a small 4,100-seat venue to a huge 20,300-seat arena and still sold out, that wasn't just a basketball game, it was a cultural event. Families were traveling across states, kids were wearing Clark jerseys to school, and all of a sudden, women's basketball was part of the water cooler conversations in offices all over America. But the most telling statistic, WNBA merchandise sales, shot up by 2066% year over year. Not 36%, but 2066%. That's not just growth. That's an economic explosion. And it's all because of one player who decided that building something lasting was way more important than just grabbing the biggest payday out there.
They're trying to destroy her from within, and it's the players. Realistically, I know we're out of time. WNBA last year was the first year in its like 25-30-year existence that it was profitable. Made $1 million. But it was the first time that it didn't lose money because the NBA supplements. Well, when Caitlin Clark comes to town, you have to go from the 8,000-seat WNBA arena to the 30,000-seat whatever arena across town because of ticket sales and all of the apparel and all of this stuff that's coming from Caitlin Clark, and you're just like, okay, but the league is totally.
So while Clark was literally turning down generational wealth, other WNBA players were over there doing the math on their own. Pretty inadequate paychecks. Think about this. The league's highest paid player makes just under $2. That's roughly what Clark was offered per game by the Big 3. The salary cap completely stops any individual player from earning more than that, which honestly means the WNBA's whole pay structure just isn't designed to pay its stars what they're truly worth. And that's why players like Kelsey Mitchell, who's one of the highest paid, or Jackie Young with her $500,000 deal, can't help but look at Clark's rejected offer with this mix of awe and a little bit of envy. They're basically playing for what amounts to rounding errors compared to what Clark could have made just by switching leagues. But here's the really beautiful irony. Clark's decision to stay is exactly why those salaries might actually go up. The new CBA negotiation, they're talking about maximum salaries potentially hitting $1 million, which is a 300% jump from where they are now. And that's only happening because Clark chose to build this brand rather than just abandoning it for some instant gratification.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the meetings that are going to happen in Indianapolis are going to be really important. And, you know, although I'm not our team rep or on the committee, like I'm still, you know, trying to understand and engage as much as possible. Obviously, this is my second year in the league, but also this is like a very important time for our league and where it's going to continue to grow. So, you know, I'm certainly looking forward to those meetings and being in them. And I think everybody in our league is to help these CBA talks continue to move forward. So, should be very important for us on Thursday. Yes, I'll be there.
You've played in NBA.
Caitlin Clark. She's really embraced this role of the humble champion, handling all the craziness around her with some textbook leadership, while you hear other players grumbling about media attention or who gets the spotlight. Clark is always talking about the fans remembering the moments they shared at games, and the joy of seeing their kids light up watching women's basketball. She's not chasing personal awards. She's seriously focused on building a legacy of an entire generation of young athletes. And when she was asked about turning down that Big 3 offer, she didn't make it about some grand sacrifice or how noble she was. She just immediately turned the conversation back to the fans and the future of women's basketball in America. That's not just slick media training, by the way. That's a genuine understanding of what this moment means, far beyond her own bank account. But let's be super clear about what Clark actually accomplished by saying no to $15 million. She chose to be underpaid, truly in service of something much bigger. The WNBA salary structure means she will probably never earn what she's actually worth to the league. But she picked potential over immediate gratification, growth over personal enrichment, and building something sustainable over just cashing in on a trend.
$660,000 is insane. I'm sure there are plenty of cards out there that have gone for more than that. One, it is her second year. What are we doing? Like, I get that the Caitlin Clark fanfare is a whole thing. I think she's a great basketball player. She can kick.
Look, she's smarter than a lot of people think at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure she has a lot of stock options. You hear me? She's the face of the league. That lets me know y'all going out y'all way to get her to come play for y'all, whatever y'all built. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. But at the end of the day, her focus is the WNBA. Nobody can't tell me that she ain't the face of the league. Matter of fact, since she turned it down, how about you go get Angel Reese? I know, cause she ain't worth nothing more than a Popeye's chicken sandwich and crap.
So really, this whole story isn't just about money. It's about vision. Caitlin Clark saw this incredible chance to totally transform women's basketball, to take it from being kind of a charity case to a legitimate entertainment juggernaut. And she chose to stay and actually finish that job. While her jealous peers are still grumbling about needing equal billing in a story that, let's be real, wouldn't even exist without her, Clark is locked in on the only thing that matters, building something that's going to outlast all of their careers combined. The WNBA can take a deep breath for now. Their golden goose isn't flying the coop, but they absolutely have to figure out how to properly compensate the woman who single-handedly saved their league. Otherwise, someone else is going to come along with an offer she truly can't refuse. Because next time, even Caitlin Clark's legendary loyalty might not be enough to beat the basic math of being valued like a billion-dollar asset and getting paid like a college graduate. The panic is over, but the lesson is still there. Sometimes the most valuable player isn't the one demanding the most money. It's the one willing to sacrifice personal gain to build something bigger than themselves. Caitlin Clark just proved that champions aren't just made on the court. Sometimes they're made by walking away from the biggest payday of their lives to chase something even more valuable: legacy.